Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's roundtable on the future of textile inkjet printing. I believe we have a very special lineup today with insights from three of the largest and oldest digital textile printing OEMs globally. With roots in the traditional printing market as well, these companies have pioneered digital textile printing machinery for decades. So it'll therefore be great, I think, to see how they think digital will weather the COVID-19 storm and how the growth of digital textile printing can continue long into the future. So I'm Madeline Thomas, editor of Industry Digitalisation here at WTIN, the host of Innovate Textile and Apparel. I'm also the editor of a number of our journals, Textile 4.0, International Dyer and Finisher, and importantly for this discussion, Digital Textile Journal. So I'll be your host for the roundtable, and I want to introduce you to our participants. Firstly, we have Jos Notemans, Commercial Manager of Digital Inks and Marketing Manager at SPG Prints. Welcome, Jos.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting us.
And Marco Girola, Marketing and Communications Manager at MS Printing Solutions and JK Group, part of the Dover Digital Printing Group. Hi, Marco.
Hi, hello to everybody.
And Nicole Gambert, and Marketing Manager at EFI Reggiani. Welcome, Nicole.
Thanks a lot for this opportunity, and hello, everybody.
So a bit of housekeeping before we begin. If you have any questions for our participants at all, then please feel free to submit these in the live discussion thread. So firstly, I think it'd be good to start by asking everyone how each of their companies have coped during COVID-19. What challenges has the coronavirus brought on, and how were these addressed or conquered? Jos, if you'd like to start.
Yes, I think everybody got a little bit caught by surprise. Initially, we thought it was when it was started in China. We didn't really think it would hit globally. And when it started to hit us, we saw that depending on the business we were in, there was a different behavior. And with inks, we saw in the beginning there was customers were buying more than normal in March, probably because they were stocking up for things to come. On the rotary screens, we saw basically business was going on as normal. And then when the months passed by, of course, we saw a huge drop of buying of consumables. Machines was coming almost completely to a stop because our customers were basically working on survival and not on investing. And so we saw the consumables drop really down to 30% or something. But now we see it recovering again. It's region by region, it's different. As a company, we were fortunate to also have a graphic side and an industrial side in our business, because the graphics was more or less doing normal, because we are supplying a lot of labels to the hand sanitizing manufacturers, for instance, and of course their business was booming, and we delivered a machine to make the COVID-19 test strips. So and we got reorders on those machines. So in total, as a company, of course, we suffered, but textiles was definitely suffering the most.
Okay. Marco, is this something you found as well?
Yes, I agree, of course. COVID-19 is having a big impact on every industry worldwide. The textile market makes no difference, of course. Not only it's forced businesses to change the way they work, but it also reshaping the industries as well. Weaker players, in my opinion, will be squeezed out, and of course, reshoring will be accelerated in this period. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted economies around the world. All businesses in the textile sector have changed, including our customer and their customer as well. I'm representing MS Printing Solution and JK Group. Both of these companies are solid companies with a lot of experience in textile market, and we immediately react in some way to the crisis. We focus on prioritizing workforce protection, strengthening our long-term strategies and putting measures in place to mitigate the effects of any disruption. Another point of view during this crisis is that I'm glad that our customers, but not only our customers, but also the ones of the other speakers, played a very important role in this unpredictable period by converting their production in order to print safety shields. Industrial tools for our daily life. Here in Italy, we are obliged to put the safety shield also during the day, also in outside, and also, of course, inside the shops and so on. Of course, as a printer and manufacturer, we help them in finding the right solution as quickly as possible in order to reduce the time to market of these PPE.
Okay. And Nicole, how has EFI Reggiani responded to COVID-19?
As probably also Marco has experienced, EFI Reggiani as well as MS and JK Group are located in the area that basically in the Western world has been hit first by the pandemic after China. So already end of February, beginning of March, we found ourselves in an absolutely unique situation where we had really to cope with how to ensure business continuity, not only for our companies, but also and especially for our customers. So first of all, we take care and ensured that our workforce could keep working, but in a safe way, ensuring their health security, first of all. So we immediately started with remote working to ensure the maximum support to our customer all over the world. We put safely in place all the procedure needed to continue to work also inside. And once secured the workforce, that was the first emergency to ensure business continuity, we really tried to think about how to ensure proximity in times that were really not enabling us to do business as we used to do before. So we really started to explore new ways of doing things. We started to ensure and to enable our customer to continue to explore our technologies through webinars, for instance, but also through virtual demos with our local demo center. And we leveraged a lot in order to continuously support our customers, also new tools. We introduced an augmented reality experience in order to be able to support customers also during the pandemic and from our houses, basically, already on their printers. And we leveraged a lot our agents network as well as our local service centers around the world in order to be able to stay near customers that anyway in several areas, except for a few weeks, wanted to continue to produce for the orders that luckily they still have in-house.
Mm-hmm.
Was really the way that helped us to cope with the crisis.
Right. You mentioned quite a few different digitalized technologies there, like augmented reality, for example. There are discussions that digital textile printing will grow in the post-COVID-19 world because digitalization has been thrust more into the spotlight as a result of coronavirus. What's your opinion on this?
Our opinion and also experience coming from the last few months basically is that digital is seen probably really as an answer to some trends that were already there in the textile industry. I'm thinking about, for instance, online shopping and all the on-demand and personalization trend. That is something we have experienced in the last few years. Together with sustainability, another significant trend have truly been accelerated by the COVID-19 emergency. So an attention has risen very, very rapidly in the last few months. And looking really at these trends, also analyzing what's what's been observed by analysts around the world, honestly, it seems that digital can really be the answer also for the world post-COVID somehow. Since if all these trends will accelerate, so the need for sustainability, the need to reduce stock in favor of being able to quickly address market demand, digital is really the solution and the way of doing that. And I would add, it was truly curious, but in the last few years, we introduced some green processes. I'm thinking about our Terra Pigment solution, for instance. And during this pandemic period, this specific process was the one most requested by our customers all over the world, also for new purchase and for demo and trials. So we have seen really in our day-by-day business that sustainability is really something that customers are looking for.
Okay, and for you,
if I may react to it, Madeleine, I think in the beginning, very quickly after it started, we saw the first writings in the internet that were saying, okay, it's likely for a number of reasons that digital will benefit more than proportional from this when the pandemic is over. But lately I also saw and heard a few comments which put that a little bit in a different light, and that has to do with the fact that we heard that quite some fast fashion brands, but also other brands, have been discussing that they reduced the number of shows. I think Gucci, they announced that they would go from 5 to 3 shows. And in principle, there was already a discussion that there is a tension field between sustainability and fast fashion. And we also heard that some of the fashion brands, they basically saved their summer collections that they were supposedly sell this year. At least part of them, they are shifting to next year. And some brands were saying it'll take about a year before we are back to a normal routine of seasons, of developing and designs, test marketing them, and then produce them and sell them. And probably it will never be the same. And you hear that not only in the fashion, but you also hear it when you talk to people about how will our business traveling be in the post-COVID period. And I think the answer is nobody really knows. And the same here. I do think that, personally, I do think that the digital can benefit from it. But in the end, also, when things go back to normal, things like price and so on will become an issue again. So there will also be a demand for rotary printing and so on as well. So it's difficult to predict exactly what will happen. But either way, I think all of us in the industry are preparing to be ready that when the demand comes, that we know how to respond and to support our customers. In China, they are back to business already in April, but there we saw initially that the rotary guys started to order screens immediately, but the digital guys, they were there, the machines were there, but they didn't have any orders because they are mainly printing for the big brands out of Europe and US, and they were not putting in any orders. And that's still today, China is now running again for, 4 months, but still they are not back to the level where they were before Chinese New Year and COVID put them down. So I have no clue how long it will take, but I think the general opinion, what you hear, is that it will take at least until the summer of next year before we have a recovery almost back to normal levels.
yeah. Marco, do you think digitalization is going to grow post-COVID-19?
It's a big question mark, of course. The point of view that Jos touched is correct. If fast fashion will pop up again, digital printing will grow up with the fast fashion. But of course, it's a possibility. We believe that it's a real possibility. And if we analyze just the process in comparison between the analog and the digital, of course, digital printing gives the advantage that it's possible to print on demand. And so this print-on-demand strategy will speed up the digitalization of the textile printing world, of course. We have to take in consideration also the market, I mean, our customers, or in general, the printers who have both analog and digital processes in their facilities, just a choice. Maybe it's too simple, but it's a choice. But for whom is not equipped with the digital printers, the story is different. And so if the fast fashion will grow up again, this kind of customer that has just analog printing is a little bit out of the game. So it's more challenging for them. And of course, our role is to help them in this conversion. Otherwise, they will be out of the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how do you think that we can continue to ensure that digital textile printing is increasingly sustainable?
We believe that the keys of the success of digital textile printing versus the analog printing are that are more sustainable, cost-effective process, and the possibility to print a short and customized run. This is the key facts that we believe are the win-win points. Improving these aspects, the success of the roll-to-roll digital textile printing market improves. How we can make this improving? We are working as the different sites. From a printing process point of view, we launched at last ITMA in Barcelona, and we continuously improving our inline foam pre-treatment that allows the customer to reduce time and cost of the pre-treatment. From an ink point of view, we have recently launched a new series of textile pigment inks called Digital K Choice 4.0. This type of inks allow the customers to achieve high life fastness, process versatility, and lean process without water-free process and good brightness. This is the two aspects that we are working on and we recently launched.
Mm-hmm. Yours, for you, sustainability. How can we make sure that we're still sustainable in a post-COVID-19 era?
Yeah, I think first of all that it was remarkable during the COVID-19 that we probably all saw this images from the satellites where you saw how quickly the air was getting cleaner. And I remember seeing a story of people in India that for the first time saw the Himalaya mountains because of the clear air. And to me, that shows, that proves to everybody in the world that the human effort can have a good effect on the sustainability. So COVID-19 has put what everybody was realizing, yeah, we need to do it, but it was difficult to grasp and to understand what would be really the effect of an individual. And this showed that if the whole world cooperates, that you can have a big impact on it. So I think this discussion is not only for the digital textiles, it's for the whole industry as a total. It makes everybody aware that if we use products that are better taking care of the environment, that it does have an effect. And I think every company will have its developments and its products to underline their efforts. But to me, the important thing is that it is really changing from what in many cases was primarily a marketing tool. Now it becomes something that everybody is really aware that we need to do that. So like every company, we are looking, okay, how can we make sure that our screens use less paste? How can we make sure that we produce these screens with less energy, with less waste? The same for inks. How do we make inks that make less environmental impact? Same for the machines, for the dryers. So I think it is an effort over the total line of the of all our products. But the big difference to me is that we have now all seen that it's really worthwhile doing it, and not only to show to the world that we are environmental conscious. So I think that's a big one of the positive things coming out of this COVID-19 situation.
Definitely. Nicole, do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And consciousness is really the key word after this health crisis, since sustainability in textile, especially for many years, has been more a greenwashing, basically. What, on the contrary, we have observed in the last few years, and it has been accelerated by COVID for sure, is that many companies are now moving really from words to true action. And there are three main big stakeholders that are really the drivers of this agenda. The first are the governments. In many countries, we can name China, but many others examples are there, are truly bringing on policies in order to increase sustainability of the textile industry. And especially if you look at Europe and all the government funds, in many cases for the COVID restart, are really tied to the green topic as well. The second area are also brands. Brands are the drivers of this change. And many fashion and sportswear brands are increasing the request for transparency and sustainability of the overall manufacturing process. This is a big driver that our customers are facing, and as Marco said before, we should support them in this process. And last but not least are consumers. Basically, younger generation have a stronger consciousness that probably spread, as Jos mentioned before, in these months, also in other generations. So this is the third big driver that is and really will push and more the industry toward this true sustainability that is not just more a slogan, but a real action and commitment.
Okay. Do you think that industrial roll-to-roll digital textile printing can ever be successful in nearshoring or reshoring markets? I guess how can this localization change business models for OEMs and for print service providers?
This is an interesting question, since it's really connected to what Jos was mentioning before. It is not easy now to figure out how the industry will reshape. What we have experienced in the last few months is for sure a supply chain disruption. Many end markets found themselves in a difficult situation since China stopped earlier this year. And this stop all over the world has impacted and made several brands think about how their supply chain could be improved and diversified in order to ensure that a constant raw materials, for instance, availability was there. So the topic of nearshoring and reshoring probably will be one of the challenges. We are observing already in these first, let's say, weeks, where something is starting to move back, that many companies are really thinking about this subject of nearshoring and reshoring. And what I think is that roll-to-roll is really an opportunity here, and digital in general, since the possibility to use a limited amount of water and the availability of products basically on any side, since roll-to-roll today means small printers without belt till single pass. So the product range is pretty wide. And there are solutions really for any size. So thanks to such a wide number of solutions available, reshoring and nearshoring shouldn't be that difficult in any size. So whatever direction the industry will take, so to identify some regional hub, for instance, to regionalize somehow the production, or to just ensure that manufacturing is brought nearer consumers. Today, roll-to-roll basically has all the needed products in order to support this change. Also in terms of green processes, and not only in terms of just the printer, but in terms of total solution that is made of printer, software, and inks.
Okay. Marco, do you think roll-to-roll digital textile printing can be successful in nearshoring markets?
Yes, we believe that the reshoring is a possible solution for an economic recovery of single countries. In fast coming back to print textile products close to the consumers at the end. It's something that really at the beginning of digital textile, when the digital textile starts a few years ago, we believe from the beginning. So of course, this situation can accelerate this reshoring or nearshoring, but we really believe that is possible. Of course, from a government point of view of the return of printing in its own textile district could speed up the economic recovery of the country itself.
Okay. Jos, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree here, because I think it was something that was already going on as an industry trend before the Corona came by. And to me, it has to do with the fact that the world becomes more transparent, and the whole move to Asia was initiated purely by cost. But those differences between different parts of the world are getting smaller. So I once said, by means of joke, I said, if we can come back in 500 years to this world, then probably we see that all races have completely mixed up. And you saw now by the speed of how a virus can go all over the world, it shows that basically the world is one big melting pot. Where things are getting more equal over the world, and I really hope that happens, because it also means that the poor sides of the world will benefit and more equalize, and so the reshoring, yeah, definitely it's already happening, and whether it's speeded up by Corona, I think it's hard to say, but it is definitely something that helps digital. Because it's more easy to start a digital printing plant anywhere, especially if you don't need steaming and washing. So if you would be printing sublimation or pigments, for instance, then it's more easy to start it than when you have to build up a complete steam or washer center and so on. So and then digital enables that. So digital will benefit from the global trend of nearshoring and reshoring. Absolutely.
Okay, so there's nearshoring there, but how can we future-proof the textile inkjet printing industry to ensure its success long into the future? What do you think, Jos?
Well, I think the digital textile printing industry, to me, is already future-proof, because if you see the developments that have been going on where we come from, when we launched our first machine 30 years ago, it was 1 square meter per hour and 200 or 300 euros a square meter on printing cost. And now it has come to a point where it can be used as a production method for the normal quantities that end up in shops where everybody can afford to buy. So in my view, digital textile is already future-proof. It is, yeah, of course there are topics that still need to be improved. On the technical side, I think still print heads are a headache to many customers. So whatever can be done to make them more reliable, but also to make them cheaper so that the investments are lower. These are things that are happening. And you see that the market is more, and the people are getting more used to the technology. It's now a part of the printing family, so to say. So I think it's a natural evolution of companies and technologies and product developments that will grow digital to a considerable share. If you look to the WTIN data, we are now at about, I think, 8% or 9% of the total printing market. I don't think it will ever become 100% because of the cost effectiveness, for instance, of pigment printing of 3m 20 wide bed sheets in Pakistan. I don't see that happening in cost effective in digital as it is in rotary. But that 8% will definitely grow to, tell me, 15, 20, 25%. But that will happen with all the companies that are working in this industry today. And I'm very positive that will continue.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think you're right that rotary will always have its place. Marco, what do you think?
I strongly believe in a quick recovery of the textile industry thanks to digital textile printing. It is a fact the consumers are more aware about sustainability. We already speak about that. Nicole already touched this point. Of course, when the consumer will slowly pick up speed again, there will be a strong focus of sustainable solution. And digital printing is the most environmental friendly solution for an aware market. It's a fact. Our role is to prove that using certification, for example, for the inks, or having green labels for the machines and so on. Of course, we as players, big players in this market, we have to prove that to our customers. Another point of view is this one. We have to use the digital printing in the right way. Not us, because we are a player, but of course the market has to use the digital printing in the right way. Why? Because digital printing can allow the fast fashion. So the fast fashion is possible due to the fact that digital printing exists, so the very quick time to market. But we have to put in our mind that the fast fashion, or better, the fashion in general, is one of the most polluting industries in the world. The lifetime of the products has dramatically decreased over the last few years, and the consumers change clothes more frequently than in the past. So I hope that lockdown period give us the chance to stop and think about our habits and the consequences of our action on our planet. So exactly now the role of the digital printing that was the author and the culprit of the fast fashion phenomena and the consequent pollution generated could clear its name thanks to a more sustainable use of the process, highlighting the aspect of print on demand. So I hope and I believe that print on demand is the key point of the digitalization in the textile world, and I hope this will be the future.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, so Nicole, how do you think we can future-proof the textile inkjet printing industry? Is print on demand the way forward?
I think that print on demand will for sure develop. We have seen this in the last few years and acceleration in the last few months. Anyway, probably, as we mentioned before, we will need to see, since big volumes anyway will need anyway productive solution to make sure that that the market demand is fulfilled. I agree with Marco that on demand will rise, and it will probably run in parallel for a few time with more massive production, since big changes rarely happen all of a sudden. So these are two areas, and I think that on demand we see also new business growing. And this is why I mentioned before how important is software and having solution for any size. Since basically we will see more and more, besides the customers that we do already know, also new customers, new businesses that will rise, taking really care of this demand that is unsatisfied today, the one of personalization and being able for the consumer to really choose something that is special and unique. In terms of future-proof for digital textile, I agree with Jos, honestly, since digital textile is really already future-proof. Is already looking at future, and all the OEMs present in this call have put a lot of effort in research and development in order to be able to create opportunities for their own customers. On our end, the key in this area is really staying near our customers and listening to their voice, as we in general do, in order to really observe with their own eyes what is changing in the industry and be fast enough to capture their needs a little bit in advance to how they really see it rise, in order to deliver innovation that can make them profitable, competitive, and increase solution reliability. All this to enable them to compete on the market and be really able to emerge in a world that is anyway more and more competitive.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great point to finish on. Thank you, Nicole. Yes, I think we're out of time now. So I just want to say thank you to all the participants for your time and for your insights. Jos, Marco, Nicole, thank you all. And thank you also to our visitors for listening in as well. I hope you found this discussion to be interesting and are looking forward to seeing what the future has in store for digital textile printing, as we all are. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.